I think we're a go, Tiffany.
Okay. Oh, I see it now. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our third day of Survivors Week. I'm Tiffany. I'm the patient advocate for cancer services, and under normal circumstances, my office is at Wake Forest Baptist Comprehensive Cancer Center, but I belong to both Kansas and Wake Forest. They have joint custody of me there. And we want to welcome patients and clients of ours from both cancer centers, from both the Dale Davis Cancer Center and the Wake Forest Baptist Health Comprehensive Cancer Center. And we want to welcome you from everywhere. Thank you all for spending time with us this evening. But before we get started, we do have a few announcements to make. I want to remind everybody, all the survivors, there is something special that you need to do. Look in your goodie bag that you received, and the I Celebration sign. You need to go ahead and make sure you get that out and send us a picture of you holding your sign. And the directions are on the back, so that should be pretty easy. And then we will include those pictures on our slideshow at the celebration party on Saturday. And we want to make sure we have everybody's picture included. So if you email those pictures to us at Lindy, Lindy, at cancerservices.org. And if you haven't picked it up yet, your survivor's gift, you can download and print the I Celebrate sign from our webpage. That's on cancerservicesonline.org/survivorsweek. And the deadline to submit your photo is 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon. So look, tomorrow, give yourself a deadline of 2 p.m. tomorrow. There's a grace period in there. But by 2 o'clock tomorrow, go ahead and get us your photos of you. Get us your photos of you with your sign so we can include you in kind of our finale. All right, let's get started. I'm so honored to introduce my friends, my family, my work colleagues, my teams. And I'm going to start with the Honorable, that's right, I said it, yes, the Honorable Dr. Richard McQuellon. Dr. McQuellon is the director of the Cancer Patient Support Program at Wake Forest Baptist. And that's also known just for Wake patients. If you are looking or listening, it's CPSP is often what we refer to it as there around the medical center. So he is the director of that program. And he is, that covers psychological oncology for cancer patients at Wake Forest Baptist. He has special interests in quality of life in cancer care and psychological adaptation to the life-threatening illnesses. We're going to start there, but I'm going to also go ahead and tell you that our next speaker will be after Dr. McQuellon has spoken to us. It's our friend Ben Curti. And Ben is a recreational therapist at Wake Forest Baptist Comprehensive Center. And he has been part of our program for survivorship for 30 celebrations. Ben, I don't know how, Ben, I don't get it. You don't look like you could have been doing this 30 times.
It's true. I promise it's true.
I don't get it. You don't look like what you've been through, Ben. I appreciate you being here because Lord knows the last few years you've had to help us be legs there. And thank you so much for everything.
Privilege.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So want to talk about Ben's work. Ben is so first of all, again, he's done the 30 years. I still am stuck there. We want to thank him for his service and dedication. And last but certainly not least, we want to welcome Reverend Angela Brown. Reverend Brown is a community health coordinator of Faith Health Division at Wake Forest Baptist Health. And the mission of Faith Health Ministries is to help people, to bring people together in faith and communities and help with healthcare systems in order to improve health and healthcare access throughout our community. a big welcome to all of you, to Dr. McQuellon, to Ben, to Reverend Angela Brown, and a welcome again to all our participants, clients, patients. I'm going to turn over to the panel now for their presentations. You all just stay tuned and we'll talk a little bit more after. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat box for question and answer time. And if we get an opportunity, we will visit those questions and address them with answers. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. McQuellon.
Thanks, Tiffany, and to your colleagues, Lindy and Julie Lanford, and all the folks, Tara at Cancer Services, volunteers. What a remarkable group. I'm just pleased to be here. Ben and I have been around here since the 1800s doing the Cancer Survivorship Week. We've been here for a while. It's a wonderful time, and I'm glad to see there's a number of folks online here to participate in this special week of cancer survivorship activities. I'm going to share my screen now. So I have a few slides, and the topic is likely well known to everybody on this broadcast: self-awareness, self-care, and resilience, surviving cancer and the pandemic. This has been one very difficult year for so many people, everybody in some ways. And for you folks with cancer survivorship or caregivers, you know that it's been a year that's looked like this. Like this, or like this, or like this. For some patients who can't hear very well, we've used these masks. So that has compounded one of the most difficult situations that cancer patients encounter, which is isolation. The illness itself, depending upon when it strikes you, where, it can be extremely isolating. Surgical interventions that are disfiguring tend to pull people back into their own bubble. Combine that with the pandemic, and it can be a tough, hard time, and a time for self-reflection, self-awareness, self-care, and resilience. So the next 15 or so minutes, I'll be talking about this topic that you see here. As Tiffany said, there'll be time for questions. If you have chat questions, I will try to be mindful of them now, but I think we're going to wait till the end to answer questions, about 40 minutes from now or so. So welcome you all. You've demonstrated your courage by coming here. I would much rather be seeing you in 3 dimensions. Actually, I can't see you at all. So it's hard to know what your response is. But one of the problems of the pandemic is that we have grown accustomed to 2-dimensional people. Fortunately, the hospitals are just open up and cancer services open up, so you can actually see people now and see their faces when talking. So here we go. So these are the objectives of this presentation. First of all, ask yourself, and you've probably done this already, how do you respond to stress and how do you get back up again? Almost everybody who comes into the cancer zone is stressed out and gets knocked down. Sometimes folks suggest it's like getting hit by a truck. The key is to get back up again, because everybody feels knocked down. So ask yourself, how do you do this? Self-reflection, self-awareness. Most of us, if we don't have encounter a hard time, don't think about this until it hits us. So secondly, define resilience. What is it? The simple definition is it's the ability to get back up again. There's a great song by Chumbawamba, one of my favorite songs, about getting back up again. I get down, I get back up again. And if you YouTube that, it's contagious. And it's the kind of a thing that you could use to actually help yourself get back up again, because music has a way of improving mood. So thirdly, identify one of your resilience qualities. I'll ask you to kind of say, what do you do to maintain yourself? What is your resilience quality? And the one that is commonly thought of these days is called mindfulness. And I'll have a couple photos that demonstrate mindfulness to you. In it, what it doesn't mean is simply, maintaining a yoga pose and meditating. It means a lot more than that. Being mindful means a lot more than that. So what are the tasks for survivorship in this time of pandemic and isolation? The first thing is to recognize what's the disease and what are the symptoms. And the challenge with cancer is oftentimes cancer itself is not so problematic. It's the symptoms, side effects of the treatment. When they combine, it's a challenge to figure out what to do. And the task is to match the symptom with a treatment. Not so simple. And I recognize that online here, there may be a lot of people with different types of challenges, radiation, surgery, chemotherapy. They all have their different symptoms and side effects. And different diseases have different symptoms and side effects. And Typhany mentioned that I'm interested in quality of life. And one of my beats is surgical oncology, where people have head and neck cancers, which are challenging for sure. First category, disease and symptom management. Everyone has to do that. Second is relationships. Family, personal, friend, and professional relationships. When you're diagnosed with this illness, you come into a different world of people. It could be half a dozen different clinicians, physicians, nurses, nurse assistants, a host of people that provide new relationships. And those are almost universally helpful and hopeful relationships. People like myself, or like Ben, or like Angela, that are operating a hospital. You may see someone like us. So those are new. And old relationships change. One patient said to me at one time, I used to think of some people as close friends and others as not so much, but cancer's changed that. And she talked about her A, B, C friends. A, close, 2, intermediate, and C, not so close, and how they can shift around during the treatment of this illness. So relationships is the second area that usually changes for people. Thirdly, what you think. It's not all in your head, by the way, but your head does, it's in your head, your spirit, your body. So what you think and how you feel. Commonly in the cancer zone, people tell me, I can't get it off my mind, or I've got a scan coming up, or I have a test result coming up. That's a hard thing. And so these intrusive thoughts can be managed with a lot of tools. And that's part of what Cancer Services offers and what we offer in the Cancer Patient Support Program, what Ben has available, also what Angela has, activities to help quiet those thoughts, especially if they bother you. I talked to a patient today who has this really good ability to put things aside. She's a crocheter. She crochets. That helps her. Thoughts are generally attached to feelings. So if my thought is I fear cancer is coming back, fear is a nasty, difficult feeling. Makes people nervous, anxious. And there are, again, methods, and we'll talk about those with regard to resilience and mindfulness that can help settle the mind, activate the body. So finally, practical matters. The person I talked with today was telling me that is fatigued, and she's blessed to have in her family people who are helping her with the normal activities around the house and not annoyed with her because she can't do those things. So those are the areas that almost everybody contends with, either very specifically or indirectly. This is a picture of Ben Curti. A difficult day in the hospital, he gets very stressed. You may have had that as well. When you get hit with something that bugs you, it just galvanizes you all of a sudden. So that's a stressed person. These are people in various states of illness in the inpatient setting. As you can see, there's a wide variety of way people might feel: withdrawn, perplexed, inquisitive, sad, and a whole gamut of feelings. So the problem is for cancer patients is that most come in contact with these types of feelings. So think about self-awareness. What does this diagnosis do to me? Here's people that are becoming aware of different feeling states, most likely. So what's the problem? Here's one patient this is her way of managing. This is quite a conversation starter. This is a patient of mine in the clinic who wore this t-shirt when she came in, got people's attention, and it got laughter. And uniformly, cancer does suck. People manage it more or less well. And in fact, almost everybody I see is incredibly courageous in managing cancer. So this is a patient's point of view. Here's how she deals with the problem of the diagnosis of cancer. Another way, these are signs placed outside an inpatient setting in our hospital. Have only positive expectations, only happy thoughts allowed. This is the patient's caregiver posted these signs for patients coming in. good idea to encourage positivity. I'll show you a couple more versions of this as well, of the signs, inspiration. People who are ill, especially with a disease like cancer, need inspiration. And much of what I'm speaking of today comes from patients through me. These are things that have been taught to me by extraordinarily courageous people over the years. Here's another version of an inpatient. I fight for the future. I fight for the right to party. This is a person that had great signs all over his room to inspire him during his treatment. And if you see up in the left-hand corner, you might not be see it completely, but there's a quote from Deuteronomy that is this is a spiritual person reminding him about the spirituality. God's walking with him. So what is resilience? Simply getting back up again, but in terms of more academic look at it, the capacity to respond to stress in a healthy way, such that goals are achieved at minimal psychological and physical cost. Healthy way, that's key, isn't it? Exercise, meditation, prayer, walking, all sorts of ways that can help healthy way to respond to challenge. Resilient individuals bounce back after challenges and can even grow stronger. People are born with more or less resilient skills. However, they can always be cultivated over time. All of us have some of this in us. Otherwise, you wouldn't get beyond the first year of life. You had to be resilient, bounce around. So resilience is a key to enhancing the quality of life, quality of caring, and sustainability of the healthcare workforce. So the people who treat you as well need to be resilient. Again, bouncing back up from difficult experiences. I was talking to a person today who had diagnosed and treated very difficult treatment, and then her cancer came back. And she was blown away for a day or two, and then she, boom, bounced back up and is fortunate to be doing really well. The simple way to build resilience, these are simple ways, and we'll talk more about this in just a minute. Walk, exercise, be mindful, which is basically essentially paying attention to what's going on in the moment. Cultivate optimism and gratefulness. I'm one of the luckiest people in the world. I try to remember that every day when I get down about something, is that I'm extremely lucky to work with people like you see, or you might not see online here today. Tiffany, Ben, Angela. Ben has a wonderful intern, Lindsay, who's with there. She does most of the work actually, but Ben takes credit for it. So resilience, being mindful, cultivate optimism, and be flexible. If you can do one thing, be flexible, because cancer has taught me, have a plan A, have a plan B, have a plan C, and always prepare for disappointment, because it's probably coming your way if you're treated. Because typically during chemotherapy treatments, there has to be some adjustments along the way. So here's a person. So here's some qualities that, and I'll ask you the participants here online to look at this, and what is your best resilience quality? Spend just a moment to look at this and see what you think. Determination, helpful, being mindful, flexibility, courage, self-compassion. Whoops. C-O-M-P-A-S-S-I-O-N, compassion. My mother would be ashamed of me. She always told me I couldn't spell very well, but self-compassion is the ability to pay attention to yourself and not be, too hard on yourself. Have a positive mindset. And by the way, crying, being upset, shouting at your spouse does not necessarily mean you've lost your positive mindset. It means you're a human being. And these things fluctuate, particularly if you're in pain, fatigued, or having a bad day following treatment. Drawing support from others. Some people are better at that than others. That's to be able to draw in other. Some people feel like they don't want to do that because you're bothering this and that. Finally, this is kind of a line from the Serenity Prayer: accept the things that cannot be changed, right? Accept the things that cannot be changed. Now you fill in those other qualities. People online here, there may be something else that you have in mind that is your best resilience quality. You all have it. If you've been diagnosed with cancer, you have it and are developing it. It doesn't mean you won't get knocked down. This is an example of mindfulness. Mindfulness, again, is not taking a yoga pose and meditating. Mindfulness is paying attention to what you're doing. This is my grandson, Dylan, who's licking Nutella. And if you look down below him, he put most of it on his pancake. In just a moment, he's going to spray about a pound of whipped cream on that pancake. Very mindful eating. So mindfulness is part of managing the world we live in, and it means paying attention. Most of us don't do, I certainly don't do that. I work at this, but think about when you're waiting for a test result, you're anticipating. You know, the feared future is dominating the present. When you're into Nutella, like Dylan is, he's not thinking about the past or the future right there. This is a challenge for all of us to be right there in the moment. Here's a person, blessed are the flexible. We have yoga. Yoga is available at cancer services. Really important things to do, to be flexible, literally, because if you can be flexible physically, it can also to help you be flexible cognitively with your head. You got to roll with the punches, they call it. Kind of you just be able to, be knocked down and come back up again. Blessed are the flexible, for they shall never be bent out of shape. Great saying. I try to say it every day to myself. Like I can be inflexible at times. So how do you survive cancer? This is taught to me by a wonderful cancer services volunteer. God bless her, rest her soul. Prepare for the worst, hope and work for the best. And if you need one, pray for a miracle. And this was given to me by Nina Ann Stokes, a very special cancer survivor who sadly died, not from her cancer, but from a other, unfortunate event. Prepare for the worst, hope and work for the best. And if you need one, pray for a miracle. Now, I think that's all of my slides, and that's all of my presentation. Thank you for your attention. I think there'll be time later on for questions and answers. I hope I haven't gone here too quickly, but now you're in for a treat, because now you can hear from Ben, and then following him, the climax of this is a phenomenal slideshow about hope. Everybody in cancer needs activity, which Ben will talk about. We work closely together, by the way, Ben and I and Angela, in the hospital setting, which is a place that really challenges folks. Everybody that comes into the hospital needs to be carefully observed. Thank you for your attention, and bless you and your cancer survivorship. You're living. Keep it up.
All right, Maya.
Let me know when you want to share it, okay?
Well, Dr. McQuellon, I'd never get tired of listening to you talk. I could just tear my thing up and sit back with a Coke and listen to you all night long. So always great information. And I've known Dr. McQuellon for 30 years. We've been a part of numerous Survivor Day events. And before I get started, I just have to show you my shirt. If you can take a look at this. Okay. Well, it may be backwards. I'm not sure, but this was from June 6th of 2009. Okay. So a lot of folks will say, why does it look so new? It's 12, because I only wear it once a year. I've only worn this thing 12 times. So it's been a privilege to be a part of 30 Survivors Day events. And I wish we could be live. I'm glad we could do this, and hopefully next year we can all get back together again in person. So that's my hope. So today I want to talk a little bit about one thing I do as a recreation therapist here in the hospital when I meet patients, when we work with patients, is we want to look at lifestyle management, look at structure of time, and how people lose that. So you can imagine all types of situations where maybe you're the husband, you're working, you've got kids at home, you're diagnosed. Okay, well, who's going to take care of the kids? Or if a mother's in, she's got kids, and especially with COVID this year, where we didn't have visitors, it was extraordinarily tough. So the one thing I have is a slide here, and we're going to pull that up. Yeah. So the one thing I'm always interested in is looking at lifestyle management, and sort of, you can look at it in a quadrant. For some folks, maybe in 3 parts, but we like to look at morning structure, maybe midday structure, afternoon and evening structure. Now, if you're working full time, for many, that would be more of an 8-hour, 3 8-hour type situations where you're working, you have free time, and then you're sleeping. Now, I know I don't get 8 hours of sleep, but that's sort of how we look at it. And then what you can do is sort of look at it in terms of leisure, hobbies, free time, sleep, and all that stuff. So I know that this year, and with a lot of the patients I've talked to, not only are they dealing with a situation where they're in the hospital and you're isolated, but also everyone had to experience this with COVID. It's been those 14 or 15 months of isolation, which affected numerous areas of our life, including entertainment, going out to eat, socializing with friends, church really affected things. And so one thing I like to do here, now it says patient here, but just if you're out there and you're not a patient, disregard that part. But one thing I like to really look at is analyzing the time that's spent with those areas. So are you satisfied with the amount of leisure during the day? If not, how would you alter that? And if you could, what would you do or add or subtract from that circle, and why? So kind of what I wanted to do for this presentation is to sort of focus on how can we get reintegrated a bit back in the community now that, especially with the governor lifting restrictions, more people being vaccinated. Things are they're looking better now, finally. Even here at the hospital, we're trying to get our programming back in full swing. It has been under a lot of restrictions, especially in the oncology setting. And so how do we start to reintegrate that? And not everyone's comfortable with that yet. So what I'm proposing here is not to you better get out or else, but rather maybe to encourage you to start thinking about that if you haven't already. And that's a hard thing to do. And I think Dr. McQuellon was talking about resilience. And, the question is, how do you start to feel confident to increase that resilience? And part of it is reintegrating back in society again. And, because we all need to have the human contact. And so, I'm feeling good right now, and that things are starting to open up a bit. But, it's funny. I told Dr. McQuellon a couple of weeks ago, even at our church, we have 4 sections, a left, 2 middle, and a right. So 3 of those sections are for folks who don't need to wear masks. They're comfortable, but we have 1 section where you still can distance and wear masks. So, there's no pressures with that. It's up to you to how safe you feel with yourself, with your family and friends. But I thought that what I wanted to do here was to sort of develop a community resource guide list, because I think it's easy to forget some of these things, especially when it's been a year, really over a year. And so what I want to do is I have a handout here, a slide. And what's funny about this is I literally updated this yesterday. There's so many things now that are opening up in the Triad area that some things I didn't know about. And I have recreation friends in the community recreation as well. So I wanted to kind of go over this with you, and some of this might be redundant for some of you. Maybe you're already doing some of these things, but there are some things that have opened that you may not be aware of. So I'm focusing mainly on the Triad area, but the first place that comes to mind for me is Tanglewood Park. We've actually had, I think, 3 Survivors Day events at Tanglewood, and I can't remember the exact years, but it was a wonderful event. It's one of the best municipal county parks around that I've ever seen. And if you've never been to it, it's a $2 admission to get in. there's so many things you can do there with the biking trails. They have a dog park, a state-of-the-art dog park. You've got a ton of picnic shelter areas, camping. If you're a golfer, you can do a par 3 or a regular championship course, horseback riding, water park especially for the kids in the summer. And the last bullet point I put is something I know that I do a lot with the family, and that's just to take lawn chairs, take a grill, or they have grills there, I should say. You can read a book, play cornhole, and enjoy the fresh air. And that's the nice thing about Tanglewood, is that you can, if you're still a bit nervous about distancing, you can distance there. You can go to one of the shelter areas and literally get on the lawn where you're not even near anyone and just enjoy the day. So again, what's nice about Tanglewood is it's a municipal county park. It's not just designated for the folks in Clemens. So please get out there if you haven't. And of course, they have the Festival of Lights in the winter, which is fantastic. So the next thing I've listed is the Winston-Salem Parks and Recreation information with the phone number and the website. I believe there are 17 designated parks in Winston-Salem. I've just listed 4 of them. For instance, Laughlin Park is near Baptist. You have Haynes Park, which is a wonderful park near Reynolds High School. But Miller Park here, which is in the Ardmore area, I just found out a couple days ago that they have installed a new fitness course there, and they have over 22 exercise points. Right now, well, actually what they're going to do as well is they're going to have free instruction for that, live people to instruct people on the courses. As of now, we don't have times or dates on that yet, but again, if you go to the website right up here for Winston-Salem, the information will be coming out as they finalize the staff for that. So I was really excited about that. I believe Bolton Park has, I think they have kind of an exercise course area as well. So yeah, if you live in that area, time to get out. And then there's Winston Square Park on Marshall Street in Winston-Salem. Now, I used to live in Greensboro for a while, but it's been a long time. I'm not quite as familiar with the parks there, but again, there's the phone number and the websites, and 4 of the common parks are Country Park, Bicentennial Gardens, LeBauer Park, and Spring Valley Park. So if you live in the Greensboro area, that's the contact information for that. And then we scroll down a little bit here and we get into High Point. High Point has some fantastic parks, and especially the City Lake Park, the Johnson Street disc golf area is wonderful. Deep River Rec Center, and then Oak Hollow Festival Park is really a wonderful park on Eastchester. So again, you have the phone number and you have the websites if you want to further explore that. I don't want to leave out our friends in Mount Airy, Lexington, and Kernersville. Those are smaller areas, so pretty much what I did there was to just list the phone numbers for that. And then let's see, one thing I'm really excited about here, this just was a recent development. Well, actually not this one, but the next one. So they have the Summer Parks concert series, and they just announced this. So this is sponsored by the Arts Council of Forsyth County. And there are 5 designated opportunities right now, starting on the 4th of July. And that's the National Guard Army Band at the Triad Park in Kernersville. July 25, we have Possum Jenkins and Drew Faust, wonderful musicians. And then at Tanglewood, West End Mambo, they're a fun group. They'll be at Tanglewood on August 15. On the 29th, we have the Plaids at Tanglewood Park, and then September 12, Martha Bassett, who is a kind of a fixture in the music scene here in the Winston-Salem Triad. So all these events are free. That's the best part of it. And there's the information for, or actually the address for Triad Park and Tanglewood Park. Okay, now this is the one I wanted to talk about a bit here. I don't know if some of you are familiar with the Downtown Summer Music Series. It's been going on for a long time. Unfortunately, last year it was shut down to the dismay of many of us music lovers, but they have announced that they are starting that back up again. And so they have there are two segments there. You have the downtown jazz. That's at Corpening Plaza, usually every other Friday from 6:30 to 9:30. They have food, entertainment for kids, and that's going to start July 3. So right before the 4th. Right up to this, right now, they don't have the groups listed yet. That's to be determined. I actually know Carl Dennerson, the promoter of that, pretty well. So he'll keep us all informed on that. But that's a great way to spend a Friday. And then below that, we have the Summer on Liberty, which is more of a kind of pop, different genres of music. That's Liberty and Trade. That's usually 7 to 10. On consecutive Saturdays. As of now, again, the dates and the groups are to be determined. They're not going to have the schedule yet. So again, the website for that is downtownws.com, and they will be quick to put it up once they get those groups going. And again, that's all free. I should mention they do serve wine and beer at the downtown Summer on Liberty and jazz. So. Okay, and then this just came out literally, this might have been 2 days ago. Found out that Novant Health is introducing a Welcome Back Fest event in Winston-Salem on Saturday, August 21. Now, actually, they're doing 3 of them. I believe one is Wilmington and the other is in Charlotte. I don't remember the dates of those, but Saturday, August 21 is the event for downtown Winston. It's free. Going to be a day of fun and fellowship. And the goal is to really celebrate the continuing decline of the pandemic and to focus on the support of local businesses, honor the healthcare workers, and to celebrate milestones that have been reached with the help of community members. And again, there's a site for that, the Welcome Back site, 2021.org. The one thing I didn't really mention were some of the normal things that go on, things like the Winston-Salem Dash. Actually, the Bowman Gray Racing is going to start up. And the Ramcat, which is a music venue downtown, have a variety of groups. Those are events that are a little bit more closed with people. I'm sure a lot of you are probably familiar with that, especially the Dash. But, if you're more comfortable with the distancing thing, then those are obviously very popular events here. So folks, that, being a recreation therapist, again, part of its activity provision, but also it's encouraging people to hopefully feel comfortable. As Dr. McQuellon said, the resilience thing, feeling comfortable and how to increase that resilience. So I'm hoping people will feel comfortable at some point to start to at least, maybe the parks are a good way to start, and then to start to feel comfortable reintegrating back, because there's a lot going on. This changes daily, and I'm excited, and I hope everyone will stay safe to your own benefit. Hopefully you'll get out. So that's kind of my message here. Happy Survivors Day week.
Outstanding. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. And I am humbled to share this sacred space with each of you. My name is Angela Brown. So we have heard such powerful sharing from Dr. McQuellon on the power of resilience and finding ways to view life. And we've heard insight on how to engage and to move forward from being and recreational and all of these great things that just really goes well and mesh well together with my presentation. So let me begin sharing. Okay, give me a moment to get set up, please. Thank you so kindly. Get you off the screen. I'm not privy like Ben, he has a sidekick, that. So let's get started. That's hopefully okay. So today, or this evening, excuse me, we're going to begin to just turn our focus on hope for the storms of life. And so I invite you to come and climb on into this boat with me for a moment. We are going to briefly, for a few moments, take a trip or maybe a cruise. I haven't been out of the country yet, maybe a cruise. A cruise that's called Hope for the Storms of Life. And so feel free to climb in. There's plenty of room. But as you climb in, I want you to notice what's in the boat and what's not in the boat. So storms of life, hailstorms, snowstorms, hurricanes, ice storms, thunderstorms, storms, they all have their own effect. But guess what? They all have a beginning and they all have an ending. So the good news is that storms don't last always. And unfortunately, believe it or not, and many of us, or if not all of us, will attest to the fact that we experience storms in just about every area of our lives, such as our mental health storms, our physical health storms, emotional storms, financial storms, spiritual storms, and yes, sometimes even those family storms. These storms are those times when the weather changes unexpectedly. What happened to the warning sign? You know, one that will say, this is the message from life's emergency broadcast system. And even during a physical storm, you are offered an umbrella or a raft or something, you know, some kind of assistance like from Red Cross or FEMA, somebody help. And so we find during these storms, we find our usual patterns of behavior, that they may go from 0 to 100 flat. And even our communication begins to tower, seems to go crumbling down. And our lives are drastically disrupted by circumstances beyond our control. You know how I asked you to notice what's in the boat? The boat, and then notice what's not in the boat. So notice what's not in the boat. There are no oars in this boat. When we need them most to help navigate, to paddle through this thing, the no oars in the boat represents those times or those circumstances beyond our control. But then if you look closely inside the boat, there is a blue rope in the boat right here. And this is our SOS in life storms. That blue rope will represent the lifeline of your hope. So hope is the belief of things will work out, especially when it seems otherwise. When it goes opposite, hope, it helps you to stay calm and peaceful when something less than desirable emerges in your life. So calling for hope, SOS in the storms of life is necessary. And we talk about even during this time that for a year, we all have been in the storm. And one thing about this storm, we all been in this same storm, but we have not always been in the same boat. Because in this storm called pandemic, my boat, what's going on in my boat maybe look different than what's going on in your boat. And so as we go through life's storms, calling on hope is necessary. I had to call on it when it seemed bleak. And so, however, I want to talk to us about hope in life's storms, such as the pandemic, such as other things. And what does it mean to call on our hope? What does hope mean? Hope comes from within oneself. Hope that is faceted to both endurance and courage. Hope will cause you to dig down on the very intercessory of your being to bring forth the strength for that next step, that next transition, that next phase. The essence of hope is to believe, to desire, and to trust. Believe. What do you do? What do you believe in? What do you hold near and dear to? What do you regard and understand to be the truth for you? To desire, want to have something or wish it for something to happen. Truth. You want truth, honesty, transparency.
When Dr. McQuellon is talking to his patients, they want truth. They desire honesty, transparency, desire healing, desire courage, desire strength, desire healing. Trust is a firm belief in the reliability. So whatever you trust in, whatever you believe in, hope brings all of that to the forefront. Hope helps us to even trust the process of life. Because sometimes the process is more challenged to manage. The process sometimes does not make sense to us. There are things that we wouldn't do. I love the picture of Dr. McQuellon's grandson, and he said it wasn't called intentional, even mindful eating, I think it was. And so that's part of the process, trusting the process. That if I'm thinking, oh, I need to feed my body, trusting the process that as I go to these various free Saturdays and Fridays event and just let myself loose, just let loose, just cut loose. So at times when I'm all tapped out, I will tap into my belief system. And that's when I turn to God, which is my belief system. And I believe he's the greater power than I am. And so when I'm tapped out, I ask him to give me strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. If the truth be told, we've all had some storms in our lives. Times when we felt like not going on, times that it hurt, times that it didn't make sense. And understand, we live in uncertain times. Things are happening. Times are things that we've never seen in our lifetime before. So hope gives us a rare power in these horrible moments, in these tragedies, in these unexpected tsunamis, I like to call them sometimes in my life. So that rare power to finding courage again, that's what hope does. It gives us that rare power to find courage again, despite the complexities surrounding us. And I know there are complexities, there have been complexities surrounding you, but that's what hope does, give you that rare power to find courage again, despite those complexities. Then hope gives you that rare power that gives us that driving force, that get up and go, that you know what, I'm gonna be like the little red engine. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. You know what, I know I can, I know I can. That rare hope, that rare power that causes one to believe they will get through these storms of life. Hope gives that rare power that will cause one to remember the times that I made it through the storms. You know, when I look back over my life and I see how I made it through those storms in my life, I think, God, I don't even know how I made it, but I'm so glad I did. That hope gives you that rare power to look back and celebrate. And yes, hope gives us that rare power that causes one to look for a new road when you are at the edge of a cliff. Yeah, those moments, those times. You remember that SOS? You remember that rope, that lifeline? That's what hope does. It is the steadfast determination of the cancer patients and others who fight, believing that eventually things will get better. It's like when a man who has lost his job and he has a family of 5 to feed. Hope, SOS. And it's like when, not only that, when you go into work and you find out that there is no work for you. You know, many of us, if not all of us, have experienced that during this pandemic. Furlough, you know, places being shut down. And people still have to survive, pay bills, feed their families. Hope. And hope calls this county to step up and provide food, lines of food in the parking lot of churches and organizations, calls men to give unto our bosoms, unto our families that we've never seen before. And sometimes hope looks so bleak, even in a given situation, as to appear non-existent. Yet it's so vital for survival, that virtually everyone who survives a life-threatening ordeal that on the surface, it seems impossible, will point to hope, will grab that blue rope as the one thing that got them through. I recall as a child, my grandmother on her bathroom door in her bedroom, there was a picture of a cat, small kitten, and there was a rope, and the kitten was holding on to the rope. But the message on that picture, on that plaque that she had nailed to her door of the bathroom was, tie a knot and hang on. And to me, I didn't understand it as a child. But as I got older, I began to understand it better. It is this very hope with which champions the survivor, even in the bleakest of time. Hope. Hope. There is no question in difficult times, we need to be lifted up. But often we don't know where to turn to, who to turn to. But just like we do after a regular storm has hit, we look around us and scope out the damage. Take inventory of what's salvageable, what's left. One day you may say, can I move my arm today? Can I get out the bed today? We look around at these things. And so when we begin to look around, we begin to find these things that I call the 3 F's. And I thought about that. I said, wow, usually F's are not good. That's a bad grade, right? But in this life of hope, these 3 F's are a good grade. Thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. That's what my grandbaby give me when something is really good to her. Tell me, 2 thumbs up, Mimi, she said. So family, love. Think about the people in your life that love you and those that you love. That family that comes together. And there's a saying that says a family that prays together stays together. So we got to make it a point to connect as often as we can. It should not be where, there's someone in your home that you can't say good morning to. So glad to see your face this morning. I love you. We have to be intentional about family now because family is so precious. As we celebrated on Sunday at church, Memorial Day, although it was not the day, but that was our day that we observed as a church family. And as we took that moment of silence for our soldiers and those who have gone on because of what they've done, I said, let us also have that moment of silence of those fallen soldiers, of not just of war, but of the pandemic, of cancer, of life, of brutality, of racism. And so we have to cherish that first F called family. Looking back into your own home, the pandemic brought great things. It doesn't seem like that, right? But this storm, as we look at this storm of pandemic, it caused us to be in our house with our families. And we had to look at our spouses. We had to look at our children. Well, I didn't know you look like that. We had to really get to know each other all over again. A beautiful thing. We had to get to realize that, our little quirks and our little things are like, why does he always leave this shirt on this chair? Why he just can't take it to the dirty hamper? And so family. And sometimes it's not easy, during this time to connect. I heard Ben and Dr. McQuellon say to get back together. It's been a great thing. And so even being intentional about doing phone calls or text or quick email. And you don't have to be in depth with it. You can just send a quick text, I love you. And it's interesting, but when you do intentional love in the family, and it's been a long time you told somebody that you love them, they're gonna be like, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with him? You're like, has been drinking, is everything okay? What you want? What? Okay, I'm waiting for that. Do you have $1,000? That big question. And then the other F, the other good grade is faith. The belief that there is something bigger, greater, and more important than you, whether it's God, a higher power, a child, a loved one, a mission, or a cause. It is a reason to go on. It has nothing to do with just you. So hope teams with faith and believes in the impossible. And I remember one of the signs that Dr. McQuellon shared was saying, if you need one, that his patient left, pray for a miracle. That's what faith and hope together does. It believes in the impossible. And I've seen the impossible. I've seen him work. And you are examples. You are a cloud of witnesses. You are the testimony. And then that last two thumbs up F, friends. Oh my goodness. So I thought about those, some friends. How many of us have them? Let's be friends. So Dr. McQuellon, you have a song. I have a song too. But friends, people can say all sorts of things. But as the old saying goes, actions speak louder than words. Friends, someone that may say they'll be there for you when you need them. And when difficult times arise, a good friend will actually be there to help. I've learned that sometimes those that you call your friends, for some reason, they just sort of dissipate. Like, where'd they go? But friends, true friends, are loyal to the end, and they accept you for who you are. All your quirks, all your dysfunction, during the good times, the bad times, and the ugly times. And God knows we have those all, good, the bad, and the ugly. Friends. And so quickly, 10 qualities of a true friend, just in case you need to sort of figure out what's going on around you. Friends, they'll always be honest with you. They love you for yourself. They give more than they take. They compromise. They forgive you even without an apology. They believe in you. They make time for you, and they are respectful of you. So it's true that spirituality may mean different things to different people, but as I come this evening from a neutral point, I say that no matter what the origin of your belief may be, allow yourself to believe, to desire, and to trust. I intentionally created this space for each of you, for all of us to find gratitude in our existence in this moment, feeling the life-giving flow of the air we're breathing and the blood running warm through our veins. Allow yourself during the storms in life to find acceptance for your emotions and allow yourself to feel it all, the good and the bad. So no, it's not unusual to hold space for anger, for doubt. I think I heard one of my colleagues say scream, or if you yell out at your spouse, that's not unusual. So allow to hold space for that anger, for that doubt, for that sadness, for that frustration, and knowing that they are just temporary. But hope is eternal. You're human. So here are a few spiritual activities to strengthen your hope, and they coincide so wonderfully with Ben. Prayer walks, how perfect. Tanglewood, he gave us a long list, beautiful list of different parks. And I want to say, Ben, that I went by Bolton Park this past weekend, and to my surprise, unbeknownst to me, the whole playground area has been dismantled. It's like dirt, but they have the hut and the activity, the exercise. I was taking my grandgirls there, and I was like, oh, the park is gone. But prayer walks. And I thought about that because I've actually engaged in that. And I have a specific park here in Clemens that I walk in, but prayer walks. And I thought, well, sometimes you can't get out. Well, God blessed you with a home, a place. And if you got to walk around your house, sometimes many of us haven't seen our backyard because we, in a long time, walk in a room. Maybe a room gives you an essence of being with family, with pictures, that family that may be gone or family that live far away. And that room may be your solace place. Not only prayer walks, but prayer closet for those that pray, for those that seek that solace. And there's a movie that's called The Prayer Room. I encourage you. That's another great activity that you can engage in, and it's so powerful because there was a storm going on in that movie, and this woman created a prayer closet, and people from that movie began cleaning out their closets, getting all that closets, and then creating a prayer room, putting up things they wanted to pray about. Nature walks. Once again, Ben has given you some recipes for nature walks. Listening to the birds and And seeing the squirrels scatter across the path, I have a little issues with squirrels, but they just scatter everywhere. Those nature walks, you gotta love that, nature. But one thing about it, when I do those nature walks, and I get out early in the morning, and sometimes I'm the only one on the track, and I can cry out. I can let tears fall. I can talk to God audibly and tell him about my concerns and my issues. These nature walks help you connect with the fact, oh, there's a tree that's blossoming. Like, how did that get there? It's just amazing. And it allows you to just take your mind off those storms. And so, Dr. McQuellon, you talked about yoga. I couldn't help but laugh because you can. So I got chair yoga. You don't have to get on the floor. You can do chair yoga. There's all kinds of YouTube videos that will help you do yoga. Maybe that's, something that you can partake in. Once again, it allows you to focus on oneself, allow you to go inside yourself, reach inside yourself, and find that hope again. And that's that sacred, and that's that place that may not always be maybe a non-religious experience, but this will help one get in touch with their spiritual selves through these quiet reflections. And so, such as these nature walks, bird watching. Some may sit out on the front porch or on the back porch, beach walks. These are just some of the activities. I don't have them all. And then moments of meditation is simply to connect to something higher than oneself. And so there's something that's called mindfulness meditations. And Dr. McQuellon talked about mindful eating. So I want to talk about mindful meditation. And I hope I'm doing well with time, Tiffany. Mindful meditation. And so briefly, this is an interaction opportunity for everyone, and I won't take long. But this mindful meditation comes from one of my things that my therapist gave me and to do. And one of them was body and chair exercise. So if you're wanting to interact with me right now, feel free to do so. I'm going to get started. So this exercise was given as a part of a continuing professional development training day. So take your seat on a chair. Hopefully you got that already. And with your eyes closed or just half closed, allow your attention to rest on your experience of your body in the chair. Notice the areas of contact between your body and the chair. Notice the support the chair is offering to you right now. Become aware that the chair is supporting your body right now by carrying most of your physical weight. Allow this to happen. Relax. Allow a comfortable sense of heaviness to spread through your body, supported and carried by that chair. But notice the rise and fall of the breath. Notice any tension you are holding within your body, the neck, the shoulders, down your arms, the weight of the head. Notice any tension in your back, down the spine, into your buttocks, legs, ankles, feet. Notice any tension in your belly or chest. And each time you notice any tightness or difficulty in these different parts of your body, allow it to drain into your chair. Allow it to be absorbed by your chair. Good breathing, good cleansing breaths. Just rest in this experience of being supported by the chair for a few minutes or a few moments in this setting. So whenever you're feeling anxious, unsupported, or lonely, anxiety is going on, any of those, return to this practice, which helps to build a nourishing reciprocal role, such as caring or supporting in relation to being cared for or being supported by others, restoring hope. And I will make this available so that if we can hopefully maybe even get it on the site. And I'm almost done. In closing, I want to talk about the story of the butterfly. Butterflies are deep and powerful representations of life. And the butterfly is one that has meanings of representing spiritual rebirth, transformation, creativity, endless potential, vibrant joy, change, ascension, and ability. And many cultures associate the butterfly with our souls. Butterflies are magical and cherished. The prophetic meaning of butterflies means you are already experiencing these huge changes and transformations in your life. And the butterfly is simply appearing to remind you it is all going to be okay. So the story of a butterfly goes like this. A young boy came across a butterfly cocoon and brought it into his house. He watched over the course of hours as the butterfly struggled to break free from its confinement. It managed to create a small hole in the cocoon, but its body was too large to emerge. It tired and became still. Wanting to help the butterfly, the boy snipped a slit into the cocoon with a pair of scissors. But the butterfly was small, weak, and its wings crumpled. The boy expected the insect to take flight, but instead it could only drag its undeveloped body along the ground. It was incapable of flying. The boy, in his eagerness to help the butterfly, stunted its development. What he did not know was that the butterfly needed to go through the process of struggling against the cocoon to gain strength and fill its wings with blood. It was the struggle. It was the struggle that made the butterfly stronger. Maybe you've heard this story in different variations, but this story is a reminder of the fact that while it's hard to watch those of yourself who we're close to struggle, often the best help we can provide is to sometimes allow them to go through the process. Allow us to go through the process. Have that hope through the process. Oftentimes we want to jump in, but allow the process so that we can be stronger, wiser. Sometimes the best gift we can give is to stand on the sidelines shouting encouragement, giving the support, and most importantly, offering hope. The late but great Maya Angelou said, "You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. For it is just when the caterpillar thought the world was over, it became a butterfly." And I can hear the butterfly saying, "Tiffany, I'm so glad I don't look like what I've been through. I am a survivor. I am a survivor." As I close and share this last slide, I want to thank you once again and congratulations on your 30th anniversary, the Cancer Survivor Week. But I share one of my favorite scriptures with you. Thank you, and God bless each of you.
Encourage everybody to read the scriptures and let them absorb and just have a Selah moment while you see the scriptures that Reverend Angela Brown has provided us tonight for encouragement to close.
And I say, Ashe, Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Ashe.
Amen. I enjoyed I knew I was going to enjoy myself. I knew I was going to enjoy you all. I knew that everything was going to work out beautifully because all things work together for good for those who love the Lord. And we've all really come together to give encouragement to everybody who joined us this evening, of every faith, of every walk, of every background and household. And it really fell together so fluidly. And we talked about it a little bit before in planning how beautifully it fell together, but even now I am in awe of how smooth and fluid it was, and I'm appreciative. I want to run from top to bottom, and thank you, Dr. McQuellon, for talking to us about mindfulness. And when I was listening to how it fell into the same grooves with what Ben was saying and what Reverend Brown was saying, mindfulness was also being careful about your words. And so when she provided the scriptures at the end, it's reminders of what to meditate on and being careful about the dialogue you have within yourself and about yourself. So being careful about the words you use around yourself and allow other people to use about you. You are a conqueror. You are more than a conqueror. You are healed. You are strong. You are well able to beat this. You are resilient. You can have recreation. You can get outside and have fresh air. You can go to Tanglewood. There is nature to see. There are chairs to sit in, and feeling the presence of a chair seems so simple, but it's the mindfulness again, where you feel that you supporting you that you might have taken for granted. And none of these things are to be taken for granted, whether it be the tree, the butterfly, the seat. There is something beautiful in all of it. And none of the suffering and worry and stress that you've been through has been wasted. It will really turn into a testimony. And one of my favorite sayings is experience gives you hope. So we understand that as survivors, your experience has been heavy and that the nights have likely been long for you and family and friends and loved ones, caregivers. And we want you to know that it gives you hope because look, you're here and you'll be here with us tomorrow. And we keep going and we press in, we press on. And this is good for every one of us, but we especially want to honor you, survivors who stayed the course and stayed focused. And I want to honor the speakers. And Ben, thank you for the list. I was reading the list and getting happy and feeling hopeful, thinking about I could put on a flip-flop and go outside, and I might actually leave my house and try to be my older normal and become free and fresh air tip top again, And so that list is really a gift. The resources are a gift. Information, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So we just got a whole list of knowledge of where we can go to get some music and recreation and see faces that don't look like ours or like the ones that live with us. And that's more important than I would have even thought about until I saw the list. And then it manifested as hope. Now we can get out and see.
You can start simple.
Yeah, yeah. But that's the very first step. Now you gave us a place that we could go, a destination. Now we can think tomorrow I might be able to do this. And sometimes, as Reverend Angela was talking about getting out of bed, sometimes it's just, where will I go? Well, if I'm thinking I'm going to get out of bed because I have a purpose. For me, my purpose is to come to this laptop and fight for patients all day. And I happily do so without hesitation or reluctance. But maybe for you as a survivor, it might just be that you're going to go to Tanglewood or go to another park, go to Bolton, go to Miller, go wherever is in your neighborhood or community, or maybe even identify another and invite others and encourage others around you to do the same. I wanted to check and see what kind of questions we have. So far, we don't have any solid questions, but I think what I'd like to do, we just have a few minutes left, but Reverend Brown and Ben and Dr. McQuellon, do you all have questions for one another?
I did, and I can't remember. I wrote it down.
A lot of information.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I do want to say that it was great to hear that Novon is doing a welcome back fest. That's phenomenal. I think that's great to engage in the community and to bring that spirit of hope back, and we have to find different ways of doing that. So it was just really good to hear that. And so hopefully I can get something to continue to spread that news. So that was great.
Yeah. Look, I went ahead and pulled this up because it sits in my window every day.
Oh, wow.
And as you were talking, I was thinking about it again, and it's just really is everything. Like this is what we need. This is our reminder. So I want us to close in thinking about and focus. And Dr. McQuellon, I still want to hear from you, but I want us to think about the rope of hope, the hope rope. I really love that. And think about that boat and visualize that. And there is something to hold on to. You have cancer services to hold on to. You have Novant team to hold on to. You have the Wake Forest Baptist Comprehensive Cancer Center to hold on to. You have Faith Health and Reverend Angela Brown and her team, the patient advocates and cancer services from top to bottom, front door to the back door. We got you covered. We'll do anything we can to get you covered. And we are so thankful for the Blue Rope of Hope and for the butterfly, because that struggle isn't wasted on the butterfly. And even the being secluded and in that tight space alone in the dark where the butterfly is in there coming out of with hope, that we know that it manifests itself as a beautiful blessing. So thank you all. Dr. McQuellon, come on with the benediction.
Yeah. I know Angela's qualified for benediction. I just want to say, I want to echo your comments, Tiffany. Thank you so much for that's a wonderful phrase, rope of hope. Go off that line. And that's what Cancer Services does. What we try to do, what the healthcare providers try to do, is provide a rope of hope for treatment. And for Ben, those were great ideas. And you remind me that this pandemic has really robbed many of us, including myself, from the initiative to get out. We just don't get out. And so I want to take your words and echo them for everybody who's watching this tonight, is take that invitation and get out, especially when the weather's nice, a little bit of a breeze, you can get outside, take the mask off.
It's free therapy. Therapy.
Right.
Great therapy, isn't it?
Yes, free therapy.
Yes.
And Tiffany, I wanted to thank you, Tiffany, for everything you've done, because you've been phenomenal throughout all of this. Yep.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
Absolutely.
You know you have my heart. It's only made smooth and easier because I have everybody alongside me. I mean, Reverend Angela Brown and I work closely, the navigators, everybody with whom I work. And sometimes when I'm at the main office, I work also with the Novant teams. And so pharmacy, everybody from top to bottom. Dr. McQuellon, CPSP, is always coming in clutch when it looks like I can't find just a little glimmer. I can lean into CPSP, and that cancer patient support also lends itself to the support of our work. So really, all things working together, intermeshing. And Ben, thank you. I appreciate you too for everything. Really, thank
Tiffany,
you.
did you say that Ben's going to provide free tickets for all of us to go anywhere we want?
That's what I heard, Dr. McQuellon. I don't know what you heard. I mean, I could be confused, but that's what I ascertained.
Bowman Gray Racing, Dr. McQuellon. Start your engines.
I mean, I'm ready. I love race cars. I've grown up in racing. So Ben, you just let us know what time we're going to meet you in the parking deck, Dr. McQuellon. That's what I understood. I also thought that he was going to provide a packed lunch. And so just as a heads up, Ben, I'm gluten free. So
with Nutella.
Okay. Plenty of Nutella.
Be mindful.
Yes.
There you go.
So I can have mindful eating.
Yes, I'm mindful is not to have gluten, but the rest is all bets are off. So, hey, thank you all. And survivors, again, thank y'all for being with us this evening and supporting our efforts to just keep the fellowship going and keep everything moving. Just remember that Wake Forest Baptist, Novant, and Cancer Services have been nonstop throughout the entire pandemic, and we will not stop. We're with you every day, all day, 100%. We're committed to it, committed to you and to your families.
So let me say this about you, Tiffany.
Yes.
Let me say this about you. The Cancer Services provides the rope of hope. Hold steady, because that rope is always out there for you, anybody in the audience. You can always grab a hold of it.
Hold steady. I like that. I think I'm going to see if I can find us some rope to hang on our doors because it gives a whole visual to what we're trying to do. You know, what we have done, really, what we have done has been, and tying that knot and holding on, right? It's one thing to grab it, but you might have to tie the knot so you can hold on so you don't slip to the end, because you're going to feel, everybody, you are going to feel like you're slipping off the end. You're not. We won't let you. We won't let you. We're right here.
I have plenty of blue paint. If you want to paint them.
He's a recreational therapist. Of course he does.
Of
Yes.
course he does.
Plenty.
Aw, thanks
Okay.
again, everybody. You all are my family and my friends. I appreciate you all. Survivors, keep in touch with us. Let us know what you need. We love you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
night.
Good night, everyone.
I know.
I don't know.